So this is something I've been meaning to do for quite a while. I've really wanted to do this. The background that I'm going to use is a book from 2009, Final Crisis. This is not Final Crisis, but this is a book that was a companion, although it really has nothing to do with Final Crisis. But it features the Legion of Three Worlds, in other words, three different versions of the Legion of Superheroes, and what I would consider, or what I would assume, is the largest roster of the Legion of Supervillains ever, including a ton of Legion rejects going all the way back to the Silver Age. So, what I wanted to talk about in this nerd alert is why the major problems with the Legion of Superheroes and how they accept members and the rules by which they operate. Now, the Legion of Superheroes, their rules were kind of established right from the beginning, which is they add one new member every year. So they will get a group of applicants and decide among them. Some of their means of deciding who gets in seem very unfair. In many cases, they simply look at the person's power and decide. In other cases, they'll put them through rigorous tests. So it really depends on what the writer feels like doing. But to start with, I had thought that they had to be teenagers, but one of the books I read very specifically spelled out the rules of the Legion of Superheroes, and it said they have to be below 18, which means um, from birth to 17. Now, when you look at the first appearance of Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, and Lightning Lad, I could believe that they could physically look like they're maybe 12, 13, just sort of the choice of the artist. And then over time, and I don't think this was a conscious decision, but they looked like they had gotten older. However, if they were, let's say that they're 12, that would still only give them 5 years, 6 years, I guess, before they need to leave the Legion because they would reach 18. Now we don't know, even though Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, and Lightning Lad are considered the three original members. I don't think it's ever spelled out, not in the Silver Age that I've seen, who the original members are. It seems to be more assumed. Um, and there are many members who were members when Superboy joined in his first appearance, the first appearance of the Legion. In fact, in the first story, we see the back of the heads of at least three other members, one of which looks like Brainiac 5, but apparently couldn't be. So, um, with the help of my memory and Wikipedia, the other members that could have been or seem to have been members prior to Superboy joining, or at least we never actually see join, would be Triplicate Girl, Phantom Girl, Chameleon Boy, Colossal Boy, Invisible Boy, and Starboy. Now, Wikipedia says that these members joined, but we don't actually see them join, so they're a little bit different. Sunboy and Shrinking Violet. Although I'm going to put them down as having possibly been there prior to Superboy. So we don't know. Maybe this was the size of the group to begin with. Um, so we can't say that they were added. At one point, Lightning Lad, during and this was later on, this was not originally, but this was quite a bit later, we get a recap of his origin story. And after he gets his lightning powers, he says, oh, with these powers, now I can join the Legion of Superheroes. Now, I wouldn't put much stock in that because that's basically saying the Legion of Superheroes existed prior to Lightning Lad getting his superpowers. But that's one writer in one instance and probably a mistake. That's my assumption. Now we have all the members. Now I'm a bit ahead of where uh, of the videos that I've released. I'm like 2 months ahead in videos and quite a few issues ahead. But of the members that we've actually seen join, they include Superboy, Brainiac 5, Supergirl, Mon-El, Matter Eater Lad, Element Lad, Bouncing Boy, Ultra Boy, Light Lass, Lone Wolf, Lone Wolf or Timberwolf, and Dream Girl. Although Dream Girl dropped out, so possibly they replaced her. Now, in one story, only one story I remember, they said that they revised the rules so it was one male and one female member. Now, more male members have joined than female members. So even if we just put aside the female members and just say, okay, they joined along with a male member, that would be Superboy, Brainiac 5, Mon-El, Matter Eater Lad, Element Lad, Ultra Boy, Timberwolf, and Bouncing Boy. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If they're doing one a year, that's 8 years, which would mean that the original members would now be 20. But they seem to not age, and physically they look like they're in their late teens, and certainly their maturity would imply that they are not 12 and 13. Now, it is possible that some of these get exemptions. Now Mon-El was put through a rigorous testing, even though they didn't know it was Mon-El. Supergirl was just kind of accepted. Superboy was just kind of accepted. So in a few cases, maybe they were exemptions. Maybe there was the one a year, although they said that Superboy and Supergirl, they had their one a year. In fact, Supergirl initially failed because of plot convenience, and then she had to wait a year to try again. So it doesn't really work because they've got way too many members for one a year of these of them joining. So there definitely is issues, and I'm sure that when they first created this, the Legion, or I'm not sure, but I don't imagine they had any idea of the longevity on how appealing this group would be. I'm sure they didn't think that in 2024 that the Legion of Superheroes would still be popular. But I just always found it funny that they so early on painted themselves in a corner. Although, I mean, the Teen Titans don't seem to age either. And but just by putting that unnecessary rule in there that it can be one a year really tied their hands from a writing standpoint. But I guess their hands were freed by simply just ignoring it and ignoring the fact that the members would be aging, because we can just pretend that characters don't age, but when you put a specific rule in there that they can only be one a year and you've got all these members, yeah, then it pretty much says, okay, they're not aging. They're really not aging. So anyway, that was Nerd Alert, and curious as to other people's opinions and thoughts.